An idea is more powerful than an army, says a time-tested adage. The Ramakrishna Movement is living proof of this in today's world. The strength of the Ramakrishna Movement lies not in money, not in men, nor in organization, but in the ideas it represents and tries to live up to. For the first time in the history of humanity, a prophet by the name Sri Ramakrishna followed the spiritual paths of different religions and attained spiritual experiences unequaled by any other religious genius. He preached the harmony of religions and service to God in man. Sri Sharada Devi, the Holy Mother, his wife and disciple, earned the status of being the manifestation of the motherhood of God. As a youth, the bright and promising Narendranath Dutta, later known as Swami Vivekananda, renounced everything to become a disciple of Ramakrishna and to spread his message. After his resounding success at the World Parliament of Religions at Chicago in 1893, he returned to India to found in Calcutta the organization known as the Ramakrishna Mission. On 1st May 1897, the Ramakrishna Mission Association was inaugurated at Balaram Bose's house at 7 Girish Avenue in Bagh Bazaar. It was subsequently moved to 2 other places and was finally established at the present site in Belur in December 1898. A 100 years have passed since then. The All India Youth Convention held on the 3rd and 4th February 1998 was a part of the concluding phase of the year-long centennial celebrations, which had begun with a ceremonial worship and meeting of monks and devotees at Balaram Mandir in the morning of 1st May 1997, followed by the formal inauguration of celebrations by the Vice President of India, Sri K.R. Narayanan, in a public meeting held at Nazrul Manch the same afternoon. The venue of the youth convention was Belur Math, a sprawling campus on the west bank of the Hooghly, which has today become a place of pilgrimage for people from all over the world. The young delegates started pouring in well before 9 on the morning of 3rd February 1998. This was the first day, and as youth delegates arrived from all over India, the campus began to bustle with activity. Many were in for a new experience. Special transport arrangements had been made by both the organizers and the state government. Everyone was guided very politely by those at the reception and enquiry counters. And as they entered the spacious pandal, the portrait of Sri Ramakrishna mesmerized them. On the right of it was an equally impressive portrait of Swami Vivekananda, and on the left, that of the Holy Mother, Sri Sharada Devi. The inaugural ceremony of the All India Youth Convention began with the soulful Vedic chanting by the students of Veda Vidyalaya of Belur Math. Seated inside the pandal were at least 10,000 other youth delegates from different parts of this country. The welcome address by Swami Smaranananda traced the history of the mission and outlined the objective of this convention. What started in May 1897 as an order with a dozen monks has today around 1,000 monks and 135 centered scattered over the world. Their aim is to inspire the youth to study the teachings of Vivekananda and to implement them in their lives to make the world a better place to live in by realizing the truth.
Our life in that manner, perhaps we would have been much better off today.
The revered Swami Bhuteshanandaji Maharaj, president of the Ramakrishna Movement and Ramakrishna Mission, gave the benediction. His words touch all those present. He knew that most of the students had their annual examinations just around the corner, and that they had taken valuable time out to be present at the convention. And so he began by thanking the assembled youth for taking this trouble. He exhorted everyone to have faith in themselves, in their traditions, and in their culture, and urged them to strive towards selflessness and spiritual self-development. He appealed to the youth to be true to their roots through the turmoil of cross-cultural influences and stated that if they were firm, a much-needed revolution in the social and political matrix of our country was bound to take place.
The shower on you all is my prayer to them. I wish this convention all success. Thank you.
And for these 2 days,
Revered Swami Ranganathanandaji Maharaj, one of the vice presidents of Ramakrishna Movement Mission, formally inaugurated the youth convention with a memorable speech. In his gentle yet convincing style, he addressed the youth as his friends and told them about the relevance of Vedanta in everyday life. He pointed out that though Vedanta has been with the Indian people for more than 4,000 years, we have failed to practice this in our daily lives. Vedanta stresses the divinity of man, and if this be forgotten, a human being is not worth the name. At the threshold of the 21st century, it was time to reread them to ascertain one's direction in life. He reminded everyone that each one had a potentially divine soul, and that with proper guidance and perseverance, everyone could achieve great heights in life. The speech kept the youth spellbound.
and sure our young people will discuss these matters, and through this a new power will be generated to awaken our nation so that they can march steadily towards our goal.
In Vice President Swami Gahananandaji's absence, his message was read out by Swami Shuhitananda, one of the assistant secretaries of the Ramakrishna Movement Mission. Sri Muchkund Dubey, professor at Jawaharlal Nehru University and president of the Council of Social Development, New Delhi, delivered the keynote address. He stressed the importance of religion and equality in our lives.
Derived from the imperative of the conditions prevailing in India, but at the bottom they are derived from spirituality.
Swami Ramananda of the Sharada Peeth Belur proposed the vote of thanks, and with this, the first session of the Youth Convention came to a close. The young men and women drifted out into the sunshine to the lush green lawns where tea was being served. As they sipped the hot tea and munched their biscuits, one could look at them and feel convinced how true Swami Vivekananda was when he said that one may gain political and social independence, but if one is a slave to one's passions and desires, one cannot feel the pure joy of real freedom. The theme of this session was Swami Vivekananda's return from the West and India's awakening. The first speaker, Swami Tyagananda, a former editor of Vedanta Keshari, delivered the keynote address. He talked about Vivekananda's role as a spiritual ambassador to the West. He explained how Vivekananda believed that humanity can progress only as a whole, as a unity of varieties, where new vistas in science and religion, reason and faith, poetry and philosophy open up parallel to each other.
His priorities changed.
Swami Tyagananda's address was followed by a panel of speakers. Ms. Shucheta Sharma from New Delhi gave a fiery speech on how Vivekananda had taught the young to feel, to be considerate towards others. Kumari Nivedita from Vivekananda Kendra Kanyakumari told the listeners how Vivekananda's teachings had ushered in a new era in the arts and in the cultural sphere in India.
From Indian spirituality.
कि देश का यदि हित नहीं विद्या पढ़ाई किस लिए जो दुख न दीनों का मिटा दौलत कमाई किस लिए ये मुझे इस बात
Sri K.K. Chopra, a management consultant from New Delhi, talked about Tyaga and Seva as applicable in the lives of the young.
जैसे आज से 70 वर्ष पहले देश के नौजवान तैयार हुए थे देश को आजाद करवाने के लिए.
Chairman of this session, Professor B. Sheikh Ali, former Vice Chancellor of Mangalore and Goa universities, formally concluded the second session with a brief but lyrical speech on how Vivekananda had revived the concept of God in our lives. His voice choked with emotion as he elaborated how Western thinkers like Einstein, Darwin, Freud and Marx had banished God from human life, and how Vivekananda equated God with truth, knowledge, and every living organism in this world. All the wide-eyed and hungry delegates now trooped out for lunch. Sumptuous lunch packets had been arranged, and all present queued up for their lunch packs.
কাউন্টার করা হয়েছে সেই কাউন্টারটি ফাঁকা আছে 5 নম্বর কাউন্টার মন্দিরের পাশে পশ্চিম দিকে আপনারা যারা লম্বা লাইনে অপেক্ষা করছেন তারা 5 নম্বর কাউন্টারে চলে আসুন
A very colorful tribal dance performed by students of the Ramakrishna Mission Ashrama, Narayanpur, provided an after-lunch diversion. Boys of the Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, Coimbatore, put up a play which enthralled the audience. young delegates found this session quite relaxing and entertaining. The afternoon session was a panel discussion on the youth at crossroads, how Swami Vivekananda can help them.
Important things which the youth always face.
The audience was particularly interested in this session as they knew there would be a lot of students speaking.
So I now request
Dr. Shubhi Chaudhary, former director of Indian Institute of Management, Joka, chaired the session, while Swami Atma Priyananda, the principal of Ramakrishna Mission Vidya Mandir, Belur, acted as the moderator. Dr. Chaudhary opened the session by presenting statistics regarding the welfare status of India 50 years after winning independence. It was a fit opening, challenging the youthful speakers to contribute their views on making India a better place to live in. The moderator requested all the speakers to be very brief and remarked that Swami Vivekananda conveyed his message to the world in a 1.5-minute oration in Chicago. He then invited V. Gautam from Bangalore to speak. The young delegate stated that young men and women should shape their lives by learning from Vivekananda's dictates on morality. Swarna Bindu Banerjee followed with a moving appeal for the need to strive for the ideal of perfection, interspersing his message with anecdotes from Vivekananda's life.
রোল মডেল এ তো বিবেকানন্দকে পড়তে গিয়ে মানে ক্রস রোডসে এসে তো রোল মডেল কে কাকে করব, বিবেকানন্দকে করব কি কাকে করব সেই নিয়ে আমাদের এত প্রশ্ন। ক্রস রোডসটা কি এটা তো আমাদের জানতে হবে।
Miss Preeti Verma from Mumbai spoke on the problem of choice before the youth today, faced as they are with the ever-increasing competition, pace of life, and the psychedelic complexities of today's society that have led them to confusion. Her oration rang very true for those present, and they realized that they should learn how to be patient and have faith in themselves. Neha Desai from Rajkot illustrated the immense energy the youth possesses and added humor to the session by indicating it in all those who had taken the trouble to be present for the convention. She ended by explaining that competition and imitation were eating into the capabilities of the youth. Energy should be directed towards achieving our goals through hard work and perseverance as exemplified by Swamiji. Madhumita Ghosh was the last panelist to speak, and in a clear and expressive style, she stressed the importance of love as the source of strength. She ended by citing Vivekananda's views on women. Swami Atma Priyananda kept this session lively by giving summaries of all the speeches, adding more illustrations and anecdotes to the views.
But the method which Sarada Devi adopted was very simple. That great lion of Vivekananda used to come prostrate before the Holy Mother, full length, lie down, and then with trepidation he used to walk back. That was the Supreme Mother's power. And therefore I'm extremely happy that this panel discussion ended with a note of the glory of the Holy Mother Sarada Devi from Vivekananda through Ramakrishna to the Holy Mother. Now the chairman.
I am here as chairman to plead guilty that my generation is responsible for this state of affairs.
The session concluded with the chairman's address. He admitted to being impressed by the thought and content of the talks and pleaded guilty to being part of the generation responsible for creating many of the problems that today's youth has to combat. He hoped that the youth would be able to strike the right balance between materialism and spirituality suitable for the Indian way of life.
In their education, in their application.
A thrilling Shiva Tandava dance performed by a troupe from Hyderabad rounded off a wonderfully spent day. It was time to leave the Belur Math campus. The mission had made elaborate arrangements for the accommodation of the outstation delegates. More than 7,000 outstation delegates were transported back to the Yuva Bharati Stadium in Calcutta for dinner and restful sleep. Nearly 2,300 young men stayed at the campus at the Sharodapit adjoining Belur Math during the 2 days of the convention. Now begins the second day of the youth convention. All the young delegates, who have by now become friends, are assembled inside the tastefully decorated pandal. The theme of the fourth session was Powers of the Mind. The session began with a Sanskrit invocation by Brahmacharins of the training center at Belur Math. The session began with an opening song by Swami Dibbobrotananda of Ramakrishna Ashrama, Rajkot.
Jai Narayan Brahma Parayan Shripati Kamala Kantam Namo Anante Kahara Bhuvarna Namo Anante Kahara Bhuvarna Sheshna Payo
तमेव भांतम अनुभूति सर्वम तस्य भाषा सर्वम इदम विभाति.
Swami Muktinathananda was eloquent as he elaborated the powers of the mind, diving deep into Vedanta and Yoga. He dealt extensively with the psychological processes and medically proven capacities of the mind. It was proper, he said, that such a discussion should take place on the Belur Math campus, as this was the nerve center of the Ramakrishna mission. The keynote address ended with Swami Muktinathananda advocating control and restraint over the mind and subduing the destructive forces of the mind and turning them into constructive forces.
And then, by practicing their footsteps, we'll be able to control our mind. Let that blessings be on us all. Thank you. Namaskar.
The next speaker was Mr. Sam Grassi from Canada. He expressed the need to revolutionize the world and therefore to start by revolutionizing the way we think and act. To achieve this, the training and restraint necessary could be learned from Vivekananda.
We must revolutionize our own mind. The responsibility is upon our shoulders. The revolution must begin with one. Then it will gain the force as it grows.
The chairman for this session, Dr. M.B. Athreya, a renowned management consultant from New Delhi, rounded up the session by quoting Vivekananda's words. You cannot teach religion and spirituality on an empty stomach. In very practical terms, he went on to warn the youth, whom he addressed as trustees of the whole mankind, of the shortcomings of the powers of the mind. Time for the tea break. It may be mentioned here that for those who needed to call their people back home, the Calcutta telephones had provided PCO and STD facilities at the Belur Math campus itself. Drizzle began and soon turned into a downpour. but it did precious little to dampen the enthusiasm of either the youth or the brahmacharins, and everyone was back in the pandal in time for the question and answer session. This proved to be one of the most interesting and interactive sessions in the convention. More than 600 questions had been dropped in a question box. Swami Swatarupananda, Swami Purnatmananda and Swami Nikhileshwarananda had selected the important ones. They answered the questions in an engaging way in Hindi, Bengali and English respectively. The questions ranged from serious and philosophic ones about life and Vedanta to more practical ones tinged with humor. Like why the Swamis don't take to governing the country instead of letting the corrupt politicians to do so. The answers were simple, convincing and truthful. And each answer was gladly and enthusiastically accepted, applauded and cheered. This session was truly a hit with the audience.
पंडाल में एकदम बाहर पीछे बैठना चाहते हो? सब दौड़ के सामने बैठना चाहते हो ना? अच्छा, भोजन का पैकेट मिले तो सबसे सामने जाना चाहते हो? जाना चाहते हो कि नहीं? तो देखो बेटा, बेटियां सुनो, मनुष्य का ये स्वभाव है कि वो सबसे ऊपर या सबसे आगे होना चाहता। वेदांत का तुमने नाम सुना होगा, डरो मत। वेदांत ये कहता है कि मनुष्य के भीतर पूर्णता है और वो सबसे बड़ा है।
একজন প্রশ্ন করছেন, নাম সুদীপ্ত দে, যাদবপুর, কলকাতা থেকে। তিনি বলছেন, আজকের সমাজের তরুণ তরুণীরা ভীষণভাবে নিজেদের বিপদগামী করে তুলছে। তাদের পড়াশোনা করতে ইচ্ছা হয় না, কোনো কিছু জানতে ইচ্ছা হয় না, তারা শুধু দূরদর্শন, সিনেমা এসবের দিকেই ভীষণভাবে আগ্রহী। তাদের কিভাবে স্বামীজির আদর্শে উদ্বুদ্ধ করা যায়, তাদের কি করলে তাদের নিজের ভেতরেই সেই ইচ্ছে জাগে যাতে তারা দেশ ও দশের সেবায় নিজেদের উৎসর্গ করতে পারেন। আমরা সংক্ষেপে শুধু এইটুকুই বলতে পারি, যদি স্বামীজির চিন্তাধারার সঙ্গে তাদের কোনোভাবে পরিচয় ঘটানো যায়, তাহলে এই যে সীমাবদ্ধতা, তাদের এই যে আগ্রহহীনতা ভালো জিনিসের প্রতি, সেগুলি কেটে যাবে। সেজন্যে স্বামী বিবেকানন্দের গ্রন্থের সঙ্গে, তার পত্রাবলীর সঙ্গে, তার ভাষণের সঙ্গে তাদের পরিচিত হতে হবে। নেতাজি সুভাষচন্দ্র বসু বলতেন যে চরিত্র গঠনের জন্য রামকৃষ্ণ বিবেকানন্দ সাহিত্য অপেক্ষা আর কোনো উৎকৃষ্ট সাহিত্যের কথা আমি কল্পনাও করতে পারি না।
Another question from Jayanta Bhattacharya of Howrah. The country should be ruled by the people who are really tyagis and not by a handful of criminals and bribe takers. This was also supported by Swami Vivekananda. So why the monks of Ramakrishna Mission do not come forward to take a chair so that they may rule the nation and do much more good to the people of India? I think they are fit and also better than others. Well, thank you for the compliments, but then we have to follow what Swami Vivekananda told, that Ramakrishna Mission will be a non-political organization. It's basically a spiritual organization. Whatever social activities we are undertaking is a part of our sadhana, and so he has given the dictum, Atmano Moksharkam Jagaditaya. We cannot become Prime Minister, we cannot become Chief Minister, we cannot enter into politics. But we can make better Prime Minister, better Chief Minister, better IAS officer, better reliable citizens from you. And that is why we have called you. A new India will emerge, and the process will start, I think, from just now.
Books for the delegates were being distributed in another part of the campus. There were long, snaking queues, as no one was willing to miss the opportunity of adding some priceless books to their collections, and most spent a long time leafing through their copies. By now, groups of friends had been formed. They talked about where they came from, what they studied, their future plans, and what they expected from the convention.
I plan to work so that I can help myself and develop my character and be a strong personality and help others in the process.
After lunch, there was a classical music performance by Sri Ronu Majumdar. He was accompanied by Abhijit Banerjee and Durga Prasad Majumdar. The young delegates were surprised to see Pakhawaj being played as accompaniment to the flute. But the two sounds blended well and everyone enjoyed the performance. The classical music session put everyone in the right frame of mind for the last discussion of the convention. The theme was moral and spiritual values for the youth. Swami Gautamananda, president of Ramakrishna Movement, Chennai, opened the session with the keynote address. He explained that the age-old ideal in India was to achieve self-fulfillment through spiritual enlightenment. The present-day problems in society stemmed from shortcomings in education, social injustice, economic shortages, and the like, but could be combated by a moral and spiritual strength of character.
The divine family, whole humanity, why the whole creation is a divine family. When this idea comes in the restricted sense, even in our society, what we need today among our young men and women is the sense of purity. Keep the mind pure. Let us not look at one another as simple men and women, simple male and female beings, but let us look upon one another with a dignified look as we look in a family.
Dr. H. Sudarshan, founder director of Vivekananda Girijana Kalyana Kendra, Mysore, took the podium next. He described the present rural scenario in India. Many Indian villages lack even the basic amenities of life, and the villagers cope only because they still have strong moral and spiritual values. Ms. Shushma Singh pointed out the importance of respect for women and the creation of better opportunities for them, because mothers were best able to hand down the values of spirituality and morality through generations. The next speaker was Swami Shuddharupananda of Belur Math. His rhymed message, inspiring the youth to come and seek guidance from the Swamis of Ramakrishna Movement and Mission, was appreciated and cheered by the audience. He also pointed out the importance of yoga.
We pledge a sage in this very age, whatever may be your age.
Swami Suvirananda, secretary of Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapit, Devghar, remarked that there were many paths for gaining fulfillment of the soul, and it was up to the individuals to choose which path to the truth suited them best. The chairman of the session, Sri J.S. Verma, the Honorable Chief Justice of India, rounded up the discussion by stressing that the crisis of character that has precipitated the confusion in today's society could only be countered by deriving sustenance and strength from Vivekananda's teachings. It was time for the valedictory address, and revered Swami Atmasthanandaji Maharaj, Vice President of the Ramakrishna Movement and Ramakrishna Mission, described the 2 days programs as a feast in which everyone gorged themselves without any fear of indigestion, and made the best of the opportunity to absorb the tasty nutrients. He was overjoyed to be able to address the sea of young faces eager and attentive to learn about Vivekananda's teachings. He stressed the importance of truth. A person strengthened through dedication to truth, purity, and unselfishness is invincible in the face of opposition from the whole universe. Everyone listened with rapt attention. Realization slowly dawned that the convention was nearly over.
You are the hope of the country of future. Yes. Please. Uttishtato jagrato prapya varani bodhato. Here is the commandant, Swami Vivekananda, the hero of the youth, fall in line, salute him and follow him. Everything will be grand success. Thank you. Sri Ramakrishna Vivekananda, Holy Mother bless you.
The vote of thanks was cordially proposed by Swami Shivamayananda, one of the assistant secretaries of the Ramakrishna Movement mission. The session closed with a song by Swami Narendrananda of Sharadapit at Belur. The soulful vocal recital by the well-known duo Rajan and Sajan Misra was a fitting finale to the whole convention. Who didn't live nearby, this was the last night before everyone went back to school or homes, back to their daily routine, and of course examinations. They were sad to leave. The sadness stemmed from the fact that they had fallen in love with this beautiful and serene place which dazzled and sparkled with lights as the illumination gained prominence against the darkening sky. Not to speak of the longing which Belur Math creates for inner illumination. They had missed the company of friends they had found here. 2 days were not a very long time, but even the puniest delegate could now appreciate a little of what Swami Vivekananda had prophesied. The blazing light of universal harmony that will emanate from here will flood the whole world. Everyone knew too that they could not help keep coming back to the sanctity of this lovely place again and again.